I told mom, I'm like, I'm going to be the best in the world at something. I think it's running. So let's roll with it.
Rahul Sharma, thank you for joining me here today on the Go at Manav. For those that do not know you, could you please tell them a bit more about yourself?
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, Manav. Really excited. And my name is Rahul Sharma. I'm a 25-year-old ultra runner, and I also work as an exercise physiologist here in Melbourne. I've been here for 3 years. I was born and brought up in Hong Kong, and I'm a proud Indian. I guess that's the main stuff about me.
One thing Rahul and I have in common is that we're both from Hong Kong, born and raised, both 25, and we somehow ended up in very different parts of the world, but we'll get to more of that later on. But first, Rahul, could you please tell me a bit more about your childhood in terms of what did you want to be when you grew up back then?
Yeah, so growing up in Hong Kong, I guess my dad's big dream when he was younger was to become a professional cricketer, and it became my dream soon after as well. So, growing up in the Hong Kong system, I played school cricket for primary and secondary, and then going on to club cricket as well. And I was pursuing that until 3 years ago. So, until 3 years ago, everything was cricket. And after a couple of injuries, I had to let that go and then delved more into the running side of things.
When did you first start playing cricket? Was it since you were like five? Was it, as early as you can remember it, really?
Not really. I started picking up a cricket bat, I want to say, when I was 8 or 9. So not as young as some of my friends. But yeah, I picked it up more when I was like 8 or 9 years old. And then simultaneously, a couple of years later, I started playing rugby as well when I was 11. And it was always cricket and rugby. And rugby culture is huge in Hong Kong, predominantly because of the rugby sevens.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of balancing the two for me.
Would you say between cricket and rugby, did you do cricket more because of your parents, or was it something because you were genuinely interested in?
Well, I think for me, making my dad proud, which I guess you would have seen in the movie, is something I hold very dear to me, and it drives a lot of the decisions I make in life. And for me, obviously, understanding how big cricket is for Indians was a big driver as well.
Yeah.
And having a decent athletic background, I found it that it was almost two birds with one stone, where I'd make my dad proud, and if I'm to become one of the best in the world at this, then it would be great. It's something I was really passionate about. Batting, especially, I was really passionate about, and I just felt cricket would be a great release for my energy. Rugby, I knew after a certain point I had a cap, or there was a limit, because after a certain point, to make it professionally, I didn't have the stature for it, or at least that's what I felt. And I had all the basics set for me to become a good cricketer. Whereas for rugby, there was a lot more groundwork to be done, and in my head, it was always second to cricket. So yeah.
And what was it like playing sports in Hong Kong? Because I felt like I grew up playing mostly football and tennis as opposed to playing cricket and rugby. So very different.
Yeah, very different. And I think rugby culture in Hong Kong is great. I played in South Island. We're really, really good at rugby. So getting into that really helped me with my fitness, really helped me with making a lot of friends, because sport in Hong Kong is very interesting, because you get to know a lot of the same faces across different sports as well. And sometimes I would, play rugby for the football club, and then sometimes meet similar faces whilst playing cricket for the cricket club. And some of my best friends till date are from both cricket and rugby. And I just feel it's such a wonderful community because it's so small. It can get really competitive as well. And facilities are second to none. Like, I think there's some of the best facilities in the world. So it's the best chance to become really good at the sport. But also, because Hong Kong is so small, it's hard to kind of get exposure to a wide range of competition. When you start
I see.
touring and you
Yeah.
start going across the world, you start realizing, okay, we've been in a bit of a bubble. But yeah, I can't complain.
No, absolutely. When you mentioned tours right there, do any specific tours you've done for rugby or cricket stand out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of my under 19 tours for the Hong Kong cricket team were so pivotal in my growth as a cricketer, but also just as a person and adulting on the go, and things like that, because it's the first time where you're, doing all the nitty gritty on your own. And, for me, small things like managing cash on tour, and because the cricket team gives you a certain amount of cash, and then you kind of have to spend it how you want to spend it, and there's a little budget on it, and stuff like that. So you learn all these little skills, which for me were very interesting because growing up in Hong Kong, you're always asking mum and dad, you're like, oh, can I get a bit more cash to go with my friends or go out with this person or that person? So you don't learn those small skills, which for anyone living outside of Hong Kong, they're like, what the hell? This is an everyday thing that you should know. But living in Hong Kong is very different.
Yeah,
So
it's a bubble.
it is. And learning all those little skills, but also having one great tour and then the next tour not being so great, and managing through those emotions, because then you're kind of like, okay, I haven't played well. I don't know if I'm going to be selected again. And then you have to put in all the groundwork again, analyze everything as a professional, and make sure you're the first name on that team sheet come the next game or the next tour. You learn a lot about that, handling setbacks and mum and dad not being there to kind of hold your hand, and things like that, So dealing with a little bit of isolation. Yeah, you learn a lot about that. I was always someone who not only wanted to beat the other team, but I want to be the best player in my own team. And these are my 10 best friends that I'm playing with, but I'm
100%.
like, I want to be the best one out of all of them. So if someone
Yeah.
is training for half an hour or 45 minutes or an hour, I want to double that. I want to train for 2 hours or 3 hours. And that's always what I've been like. So yeah, it was a lot of learning from a lot of the cricket tours I've been on.
Wow, that must have been tough for you, especially at a very young age. You putting that pressure for yourself when you're not even 18 yet. And you said you've learned a lot from that experience. What's one learning lesson that still stands out to you from that time?
I think one of the biggest learning lessons for me is back then I loved working hard, and I grew up listening to a lot of how the Michael Jordans or the Kobe Bryants would think and go about their sport. So I was like, okay, I want to be like that
Yeah.
in my own way. And I guess the big thing is how you put that pressure on yourself. And when things don't work out, that's when you learn the most. When things do work out and you're working so hard and stuff, you're like, okay, I'm the best. But it doesn't teach you that much more. You're working hard, everything's fine, and you're winning or you're doing well. But when someone just beats you, when my best mate just beats me on a yo-yo test or a beep test or something like that, I just can't live with it. And I get a bit sour,
Oh,
and I'm a
wow.
bad loser in that way. Those little moments still stick out. This is like my best friend. Like he's in America. We still call every other day, and things like that. We're really close. But for a week, I'm not talking to you. But obviously, I'm much older
Yeah.
now, and I understand how pivotal that has been for me to be in the place that I am now. So yeah.
It's so interesting that you mentioned all of that because I feel like it definitely foreshadows, the success you have later on, which we'll get to. But I'm curious to know, Rahul, could you please tell us, the listeners, a bit more about what was the age period between 18 to 21 like for you?
Yeah, for me, it was really trying to balance what I want to become with school and studies, right? I've never been someone who's going to do really well in all my exams. When I used to go to like a parent teacher consult with my dad, he used to bring a big paper, and his English and everything is not the best. And he used to bring a big sheet of paper. He used to write down all my subjects, and then he used to have a section where he used to either tick it or cross it off. And it used to be a 20-minute meeting with all the teachers. I'm not talking per teacher. The whole consult used to be 20 minutes with me and dad. And it used to be the best thing. He used to tell the teachers, he's like, don't tell me about how my boy is and what he's good at and what he's bad at. Just tell me, is he going to pass or not? And that's all he cared about, because he knew deep down that he's going to play cricket or he's going to do something in sport. To keep dad happy, as long as I'm passing, all's great. And obviously I had my key subjects like bio I was really good at and I found it easy, so I'd try and smash the heck out of it. Something more like a
Of
chemistry,
course.
I didn't really enjoy. So I would be like, okay, I'm not going to spend too much time here. As long as I'm doing all right, let me focus more on biophysics, PE, math, that sort of stuff. English, I hated. I really hated English because, all the English lit, English lang, I was like, nah. So as long as I'm doing all right, that's fine. And then put that focus into something else. So I had my chosen subjects where I was like, okay, I'm going to ace this and let's do all right here. And then everything else, all my energy goes into cricket. I was really focused on that. I still went out with my friends and, obviously my dad's a guru, so I had to respect my boundaries within that. So I'm not someone who, like, I'm really religious as well, so I wouldn't drink, I don't eat meat, anything like that. So growing up in Hong Kong is great because you get people of all different backgrounds and upbringings and stuff like that. So I'd literally
Son.
go out with my mates. They're all getting hammered and I'm going out till 2 in the morning, but I'm coming back and then I'm doing my running or I'm going straight to cricket and everything like that. So for me, it was, I need to respect what I'm really driven and dedicated towards, which is cricket at the time. And I need to respect that. So
Yeah.
I will do the partying. I'll go out with them till 2 in the morning, but I need to be there at 6 in the morning at the club, warming up or getting ready and putting the hard work in. So I have the best chance of success on the games on the weekend, on Saturday or Sunday. And that's what I thrived on because I know all the other players, they're still going to go out, but they're not going to wake up at 6 like I do because I need to be training before them.
Wow.
And then when they get to training, I need to be training whilst they train as well, just for my own sanity. So I know I'm doing more. It was a constant battle because I do want to go out and sometimes I don't want to be there at training, but it was that internal kind of battle for, I guess, 3 years, and then I injured myself. But yeah.
Wow. Okay, I have two questions after hearing all of that because I feel like a lot of us can relate to this. But first of all, how did you deal with the fact that you kind of had this inner battle between you're going out with your friends, they can influence you? Do you get peer pressured being around them? Or if I sleep past my usual routine, if I don't get up at 6 a.m., it's fine, because I kind of sacrificed being out with my friends. So that's the first question. The second question is, how do you deal with FOMO?
Yeah. So I guess I'll answer both in one go. So I've always been told by dad, like, you're special. And I know every child has been told that, but I really, whatever dad says to me, I really take it to heart, whether it's criticism, whether it's anything positive, whatever it is. For some reason, I guess because I'm the only child, whatever he says, I'm like, it's gospel. Like, that's it. I don't care what anyone else has to say. If dad says this, like, I'll take it. So when he says that, it's always somewhere in the back of my mind. I'm like, any other person wouldn't show up at this point, so I have to because I'm different. And that's what I thrive on. And I guess after a certain point, that becomes the narrative. First, it starts with Rahul's crazy, like, I don't know why he's doing it, he's an idiot. Then it turns into, okay, there's a bit of respect now. And then it becomes, okay, that's what he does. And when it gets to that point, I'm like, now, even if I don't want to show up, or even if I'm not in a state to show up, I still have to because that's what I do now. And that's what people know me as. So is that certain level you set for yourself that you're like, okay, now I have to keep meeting that even when I don't want to. And I think when it gets to that, I'm like, okay, I'm in a good spot now. And when it comes to FOMO, that helps work around that as well a little bit. And, for me, it's about setting priorities. And I've always told everyone, I've told people I've been in a relationship in the past with, I've told my parents know me very well, so I don't have to tell them. But I said to them that my trade or what I'm dedicating my life towards will always have to come first. Relationships, friendships, peers, everything else, all this fun stuff, if you want to call it, has to always come second. And that's, I guess, some people look at it as a sacrifice, but I genuinely think back then when I was playing cricket, I never saw it as a chore or work. Right now, for me, running is when I'm the most truest version of Rahul. That's the most Rahul can get. Everything else is secondary. And that might change, right? Cricket
Yeah.
was primary for the longest time in my life, but now I can't even look at a cricket bat anymore. So life changes, and yeah, I think time kind of changes those things.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Could you please tell us a bit more about that, Rahul? You mentioned obviously that Rahul or running now makes you your truest version. It makes you really happy. How did running come into the picture and how did, you give up cricket and how did that make you feel?
Yeah, giving up cricket wasn't the easiest thing, but I got a few injuries. I tore my meniscus, I tore my LCL, I tore my hamstring within 1.5 years. There was always a constant cycle of rehabbing, then going back to playing cricket. Then you're suddenly not playing as well as you want to, and you're expecting performances quickly, and then you're playing in a lower grade, you know. So I was really sick of playing for Melbourne twos to fours. And that's a constant cycle. And I was like, I don't want to do this. I want to play in the ones because I personally feel I'm good enough, but I don't even have the performances to show them that I'm good enough. And training is training, right? You can look as good as you want in training, but if you're not going to back it up, then what are you doing? So after that, I had a couple really, really good games, right? I scored a couple hundreds and I just didn't feel satisfied within myself. I'm like, I just don't enjoy this. Someone like me to question why am I standing on a field at a 4 p.m. on a Saturday, it was like never in my mind would I think I would question myself, and I've had horror seasons in
Of
Hong
course.
Kong in the past, but it's like I've never questioned myself. I'm like, no, it's cricket. You owe to the game doesn't owe you anything, and I really respected that value. But I was like, you know what? I don't love cricket for cricket. I craved competition and I craved winning and beating someone else and coming first and being the highest run scorer and stuff. And I fed off all of that external stuff. If you really break it down, it's nothing to do with the cricket. It's got nothing to do with the sport. Because if I was truly in love with the sport, whether I'm playing grade 4, grade 1 for India, for Australia, doesn't matter. I'm still playing cricket. It's the same game. So I was like, okay, I don't love the sport. I love the idea of being the best. And I was kind of thinking about it, I was like, why rely on 10 other people if I want to be the best? So then it got back to rehabbing after my hamstring tear. And obviously I started running more, and we had to log it in the app and stuff like that. And I was just
Yeah.
kind of thinking, just on one of the runs, am I as quick as I used to be when I was 18? Because I felt I was pretty fast then. And then it was still the off season for cricket, and there was this one race that was going on within that time. So I just signed up for it, and I tried to beat my previous time from when I was young, and I did, and I felt really good about it. So I was like, okay, if I can do that, let me try and
Nice.
do a slightly greater distance. And then I did a 10K, and then I beat that. And then, a few of my friends are like, oh, a 10K is not a real race. Why didn't you try to do a half? And then we went to that. So it just started kind of getting bigger and bigger. And then I was also working in a student accommodation as a event leader or resident leader. And one of my tasks was you need to plan events. And they brought me in because they didn't have anyone sporty. I would do like a tennis event or a golf event or something like that. And I just keep changing it. And then I decided, why don't we make it weekly and make it a run club? Because that's when run clubs were really hot. So we did that, and we used to get 30 to 35 students come in every Saturday. They're hungover, they're still drunk, they're really tired, they've got uni stress. They'd still show up to the run club for the social. And I really started
Nice.
enjoying that social aspect of it. And for a long time, I forgot about all the competitive kind of stuff. And then, I told mum I'm not going to play cricket again. And she was like, all right, like that's ever going to happen. She didn't quite buy it. And then I told my father eventually, which took a lot of courage. And
Yeah, I can imagine.
yeah, so that was very difficult. It was a few phone calls that we had to do, and we'd take a long break between talking to each other, and then slowly, it got to that. And then I told him, I was like, look, trust me, I'm signing up for the Mumbai Marathon. I'm not going to play cricket ever again. And this is happening. And yeah, so I did the Mumbai Marathon. Then I finally met him in person because Australia is so far, and I don't have any annual leave. So I only met him 6 months or 4 months after the conversation we initially had. And when I met him
Wow.
in person, I just told him, Dad, I know, just trust me. And when he saw that in my eyes, I think that's what sold him, because he's like, okay, he's not just having a bad season, he's over it. There's no more emotion related to the game. He means it.
You have to
So
accept it.
yeah, that was kind of the process we were going with. And he, until Sri Lanka, didn't have any hope in running because it's hard to understand. No Indian has ever done something like that before at that extreme level. So he needed to see it to be true.
Sorry, just to go a bit back. So you moved to Melbourne. Was this when you were 18 or 19?
Yeah, so I moved when I was 18, turning 19, and then it was COVID. So I was back in Hong Kong playing kind of through the bubble, and then I injured myself. So I went back to Melbourne in 2023. I'd done most of my undergrad, and then I came to finish off my degree here, which led to me doing a master's because I was running out of a visa, which was all last minute. And in this whole time, I've gone from playing 2 seasons of cricket to not playing cricket at all, and then having another injury, and then
I see.
yeah.
Yes, so Rahul, could you please tell us a bit more about Lanka? When did this project come into action for you? And it's interesting you mentioned that you obviously met your dad after, a couple of months having to make that difficult call that, you had to give up his dream career role for you in cricket. Were you pursuing this project more for yourself or was it to please him?
Yeah, so making him proud is always in the forefront. So everything I want to do, I'm like, whether it's a good decision or I've made bad decisions in the past, like everyone, but it's also every big life decision I make, I'm like, what would dad think? What would my family think of me making this decision? If it's half and half, I won't take it. If it's a full yes, then we go ahead with it. So I told mom, I'm like, I'm going to be the best in the world at something. I think it's running. So let's roll with it. And I saw a guy, an English guy, Will Googe, run across Australia and he smashed the world record and he did it in 34 days, I think. And he got a bit of slack from the public to say if it was official or not and everything like that, but that's a whole different story. I was just at the pub with a few of my friends and they were drinking and this came up and we were kind of like, I was like, do you reckon I could do it? And this is me having not even run one marathon yet. I was like, do you think I can do it? And they're like, yeah, you're probably crazy enough. I was like, all right, okay. And I took it to heart. There's a few things I take to heart. So I took it to heart and we got the first marathon out of the way. And then I reached out to my coach and I said, look, what do you think?
Oh, nice.
Obviously, as any good coach would, he's like, you're out of your mind and it's nuts. I don't know if this is safe. He was thinking he doesn't want me to be in a wheelchair for 6, 7 months, So I forced the hand a little bit and yeah, we landed on Sri Lanka, which was the right distance, but also challenging enough. And I said, no one has gone from running their first marathon to breaking a world record all within a calendar year. And I said, my first marathon was in 19th of January, 2025, and we're going to do a world record before the end of the year. So we actually finished on New Year's Eve. So, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Firstly, congratulations. I've already said this to you earlier, Rahul, but yes, again, for probably like the seventh or eighth time, congratulations on your
Thanks.
world record. For
Really appreciate
those
it.
listening, could you please tell us a bit more about why did you decide to choose Sri Lanka specifically? And you talk about how the people around you, your coach, your friends, they had that doubt in you. What made you believe in yourself so hard that you were able to achieve that record? Like, did you think you were going to actually beat it?
Yeah, so first question, we chose Sri Lanka because we wanted a country that has never been covered. So we wanted to not have a blueprint, but I wanted something raw that is ours, that is made by my best friends and so if you look around my team, it's my mom, my best friend, who's my manager now. He does all the logistics. He does all the sponsorship deals. It's my other best friend who made the documentary. It's my coach, who's another great mate of mine. And it's all manufactured authentically. We work with a lot of professionals, do all the nitty gritty stuff that we don't know about, but all of it is, I feel I'm gifted with a lot of great people around me. So I want to use them and give them an opportunity to excel as well in their own areas. And then mum obviously makes everything better. And that's what she's good at. So yeah. Second question, I said to everyone, I was like, this record is already set and it's a matter of me just collecting that world record when I get to Sri Lanka. So that's the mindset I told them that we always roll with, because I told them, I was like, you guys are the best minds that I've ever seen when it comes to stuff like that. And having them around me, there is no reason, nothing can get in the way, nothing. So I said the world record is already set. It's just a matter of me reenacting running and getting that world record. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Absolutely. And how did you feel at the age of 25 to break that record? I mean, did you feel very happy? I'm sure you did, but also were you like, great, I want to move on now to the next record?
That's something I've always struggled with. So when it comes to success, I'm not someone who can live there too often. So seeing this documentary again and again and again, I'll be honest, I'm past it now as well. Like I feel my friend's done a great job, but I was like, I can't physically sit there and watch it again because it's now like my mind is already on the next project. I felt emotional, but it wasn't because I didn't think I'd make it or there was doubt in my mind. There was zero doubt in my mind. It was more so I didn't expect the amount of love I was shown. I just couldn't comprehend it. I was like, I know people are going to support me because A, they either know my dad or they've seen me grow up in Hong Kong or they're my friends and family or whatnot. but love from the locals, so many new people coming on, and so many people saying how inspired they were. That's what I was blown away with. And also raising 27,000 Australian dollars for children's cancer. Our goal was 20,000.
That's
We
actually
were
amazing.
8,000 or 9,000 short before I started the run. And then by the end of it, we're 1,000 surplus. I was like, oh my God. It was all of that 6 months of hard work finishing and wrapping up. So I was pretty emotional at the end, which I think you would have seen. But
Yeah.
the rule was I'm not going to think about running for like a couple of weeks. I'll be honest. I got into ChatGPT and I slept the night. And the next morning, before I went to bed, I put into ChatGPT, this is what I'm thinking. Give me some ideas. And the next morning, it generated a good list of countries for me to run next.
Nice. Well, I just have three quick questions left for you, Rahul, and I'm sure you can answer them very quickly because it's a lot based on what you just mentioned right now. Could you please tell us a bit about the Born to Fly documentary? Because you're obviously talking about this movie, and people listening might be wondering, what movie are you talking about? Obviously, I watched it, and a lot of people have, and it's very inspiring what you do. But for those listening and don't know about it, where can they, find it?
Yeah, so the Born to Fly documentary is a documentary directed by my best friend Ali Khajayan, and basically it covers all the hard work that we've done over the last year. I want to say I only had a 6 to 7 month window to prepare for this world record, which is absolutely not enough. So we wanted to take everyone behind the scenes and give them a raw kind of insight into what it took, why I'm doing it, establish the story of who I am as a person, and the basic premise is our motto is dream like a kid. And I've always dreamt like a kid. And I'm a true believer that a lot of the times I've seen in my friends that when you hit your mid 20s or even older, those dreams start to fade. And I feel I made the best decision in my life to not let that dream fade. It's the
Absolutely.
most alive one can feel. So I just want to share that feeling with everyone else, and hopefully it can drive them to make those decisions in their own life in their own way. It's just a reminder to keep dreaming big and just holding on to that. And that's the most important thing. It's called Born to Fly and it's on YouTube. It's live on YouTube on the Ebb and Flow page. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll make sure to link it below so people can also watch it from
Thanks,
there.
man. Thank you.
Now, the second last question is, what are you up to nowadays, Rahul? Because obviously you use ChatGPT to plan your next marathon run, but obviously you're also working full time. So yeah, what keeps you busy now?
I'm an exercise physiologist here in Melbourne. So I work 5 days a week, Monday to Friday. And on the weekends, I still host my run club, Ebb and Flow. We've gone very deep into the prep for the next one because I said the first one was great, but it was a big learning curve for us. From a logistical point of view, the run's going to improve regardless. I'm going to get fitter. The team's going to get better. The logistics of the run, where I'm going to sleep, all of that nitty gritty stuff will get better anyways. I just want to make the production better. I want to bring people with me. I want to make it a whole event. I want to be one of those guys who transcends the sport. So I want to take the sport to a new height and give people something that they could have never have imagined for. So the next one's going to be a once in a lifetime type of event.
Wow. Very excited to learn more about this when eventually the date comes to, release it.
Yeah.
Usually with my last question, I like to ask my guests what would they say to the 18-year-old selves. But you're talking a lot about your kid, your younger self, as if not your 18-year-old self. Obviously, you went through the hardships with your injuries from
Mm-hmm.
cricket over that period, but also more of, you got into the sport at age 8. So let's kind of, change the question up. Instead of saying, what would you say to your 18-year-old self? Rahul, what would you say to your 8-year-old self?
Like over the last few days and weeks, so even with the doc, anything that I manifest or stuff like that, I just get these visions in my head and I tell Ali and he can bring it to life. I just get words in my mind, and something that keeps coming to my mind is I would tell myself, younger self, that don't worry about swimming through a swamp or crawling through like a desert or mud. I would say open your eyes, soar in the sky because you were born to fly.
Wow.
That's
I
what
like
I would
that.
say.
Yeah.
And I guess what I'm trying to say there is don't worry if cricket doesn't work out. Don't worry if anything else doesn't work out. You're meant to be the best in the world. You'll figure out exactly what it is that you will be the best in the world at. Because for me, Born to Fly, the name of the doc is inspired by my dad because on the last day, he told me, tomorrow you will fly, even when I thought I was in the biggest pain I've ever felt, the most pain I've ever felt. But to me, the more I think about the name of the doc, yesterday someone posted an article, and I keep seeing Born to Fly again and again and again
I
because
saw
people are
that.
posting about it now.
Yeah.
And for me, it holds a deeper meaning now. The more I see those three words, I'm like, this whole time I was swimming through mud or I was crawling through a desert, I was born to fly, and for me that flying is I'm referring to running. I'm like, that's always been my calling. If I really recall everything, I've been the happiest and I've felt the most liberated when I'm running. Yet I've put so much and felt so much discomfort and hate towards cricket and all these other things, and it's left a sour taste in my mouth, and I've been all emotional and this and that. Whereas it's not that deep at the end of the day. You'll find what you are meant to do on this planet if you really just take everything in your stride and let the world be your canvas.
Wise words, Rahul, for sure. Yeah, I think you captured that really well. And absolutely, it's more about don't worry, everything will kind of work out. That sort of message, which is great. It's also just beginning for you at 25. So very excited to see where your journey, goes
Absolutely,
from
man.
here. So
Nah,
thank you,
thanks,
Rahul,
man.
for joining me
I
here.
really appreciate
And
that,
for
brother.
those, of course, and for people who like to get in touch just to learn more about you, what would be the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, so I'm pretty active on my socials. So Rahul J Sharma _ on my Instagram. I post heaps of content there, and I reply to as many DMs as I possibly can. But that's where all the updates, the news, my next run, and everything like that will be posted. We do have a little teaser at the end of the documentary. So if people have watched all the way to the end, so they'll come across that teaser.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Rahul. And for those listening, make sure to like and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. Hopefully, I will see you soon, Rahul, whether that's Hong Kong or Melbourne. But yeah, thank you guys for listening and tuning in. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day, guys.